was a very deep river. She had never liked boating or water, and since she was not much of a swimmer, fear ran over her. But she said nothing. They had glided along for perhaps half an hour when Josh said, "I think the current's getting faster." He called ahead, "How is it up there?" From far in the front came the voice of Kybus, very faint.
"Be careful! Be careful!"
"I don't like this." Wash's black face was tense, and his usual cheerful smile was gone. He clung to the sides of the boat. "Sure wish we could get out in the open." Reb, perhaps trying to lighten the situation, said, "You know what this is like?" "I know it's like something weird," Sarah said. "What's it like to you, Reb?" "Why, I went in one of them parks in Dallas, and they had a thing called the log ride. I got into that sucker and slid down all the way, and you know what? It was fun." Josh said, "I've been there too, and it was fun. But this is a little different." Suddenly he cried out, Look up there!" Sarah looked up and saw at once what he had seen. "The ceiling's getting lower," Josh said. Far ahead they heard a cry, and a cold chill ran down Sarah's back. Not only was the river beginning to boil, throwing forward the little boats at a speed that was terrifying, but was the ceiling closing in on them? Before, it had been high enough so that their torches barely illuminated it. But now she saw that it was only a few feet above their heads. "What if it plays out?" Reb asked suddenly. "What do we do then?" "Never happen," Josh said. But he was feeling queasy himself. Sarah wondered, was his stomach churning too? This closing in of the ceiling and the racing of the river were things he must have never counted on. But Josh said, "We'll be all right." Another cry came from far ahead. "Look out!" And then silence. "The tunnel's closing in," Sarah cried. Now the ceiling was so close that she could almost reach up and touch it. "We're all going to drown." Sarah grabbed at Josh. She caught his arm, which he was using to paddle, and caused him to miss a stroke. He said angrily, "Don't hold on to me, Sarah. I need to guide the boat." As if they hadn't enough trouble, suddenly the torches far ahead of them disappeared, just flickered out, except for the one right in front containing the other sleepers. "Are you all right?" Josh cried out. "Dave?" Dave's voice floated back. "We're all right, but it looks like we're running out of river. I can't even see the others." The ceiling dropped lower and lower, and now it was as if the boat were being drawn into a giant whirlpool. The water was white. Its roaring as it streamed over the rocks was almost deafening. The fury of the rushing water and the sensation of being closed in were terrifying. Fear rose to grip Sarah, and then she heard Abigail scream, "We're all going to die! We're all going to die!" And at that moment, though she had little use for Abigail's manners, Sarah thought there was some excuse for the girl's terror. Hang on, Josh said. "We'll make it." There was a mighty roar then, as the river seemed to reach a crescendo of sound, and Sarah gave up all hope. She crouched in the bottom of the boat, covered her ears with her hands, and began crying out to Goel for help. And then, as if in answer to her cry, the roaring began to diminish. Sarah looked up to see that the ceiling was no longer right above her head, but was rising, almost magically it seemed. "We made it through! We made it through!" Josh cried. "Look ahead there!" Sarah gasped in amazement. They had come into a huge cavern with a ceiling so high that it seemed to go up forever. The torches did not enable them even to see it. On each side, they began to pass huge stalactites and stalagmites that glittered like diamonds, reflecting the torchlight. "We've come to a big cave," Sarah cried out. "Oh, Josh, there's a shore over there. Let's land on it quick." "I think that's a good idea," Josh called out. "Dave, see that shore? I think we'd better pull in." "All right," Dave called back. The two boats turned toward a long sloping beach in a side eddy of the river. As the first boat landed, Jake leaped out and pulled in the prow. Reb did the same for the second boat. Soon, everyone was out on the sand, and Reb was lighting other torches so that they could see what sort of place they were in. "Why, it's like Mammoth Cave," Sarah said.